Now, Lacey, when most consumers think about going shopping for a compact SUV, they gravitate towards the best sellers like the Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, and the best seller overall is the Ford Escape, right?
Well, now, Zach, if GM gets their way, buyers that are looking for an inexpensive family runabout will have something else to consider. This is the all-new Chevy Equinox. It's got more standard features, 2 engine options, class-leading fuel economy, and overall, I think it's going to be a pretty compelling package.
The Equinox is built in Canada, General Motors' Ingersoll, Ontario plant. Previous Equinox buyers told GM that they didn't want the size of the Equinox changed because it offers the perfect amount of space and cargo that many Canadian families are looking for.
So what GM has done is taken the very basic and useful design and pretty much improved on it in every way. So let's start with the styling. This new 2010 Equinox has a similar look to the bigger Chevy Traverse that we tried last year, with standard 17-inch wheels or optional 18 or 19-inch wheels. The Equinox is sold as an LS, LT, and LTZ. What makes the Equinox unique are options that are usually not offered in this class of vehicle, including power liftgate, backup camera, and park assist.
Now, the Equinox is the largest of the compact SUVs, and Canadians like the size because of this, the back seat. There's a lot of room back here. One of the main features, the floor is perfectly flat. There's no bump in the middle, makes it easy to get kids in and out of the back seat. There's tons of leg room here. This seat is even adjusted for a regular driver. It's especially handy if you have those car seats, those rear-facing ones. They take a lot of room, and it'll fit back here no problem. Now, the seat even slides all the way forward. This isn't obviously for comfort. You get a huge back cargo area.
Compared to the CR-V, RAV4, and Escape, this Equinox has a more upscale and classy look that would fit a more expensive vehicle. The satin finish on the center console, nicely integrated radio and heat controls are very similar to luxury products. Standard features include power driver seat height adjustment, tilt and telescopic steering, and all airbags. Notable options include USB interface, satellite radio, navigation, backup camera, Bluetooth connectivity, leather seating, and more.
Now, there is a bit of an oversight here. The fact is that you can't get heated seats unless you buy a top trim level. You can get it on the 2LT or the LTZ. If you want a base model Equinox, you're going to be chilly. Not good for cold Canadians.
Well, Zach, so far we've been really impressed with the new Equinox. We like the exterior styling and have been impressed with the updated interior. But we haven't even touched on one of the biggest improvements, and that's on how this compact SUV drives. The previous generation Equinox was only offered with a V6, so one of the biggest differences this year is you now have your choice of 2 engine options. You can get a 4-cylinder or a V6. I have a feeling that this is really going to open up the market for people who are concerned about fuel economy. The new 4-cylinder has more power than the outgoing V6, and it will prove to be the most popular engine choice. The all-new direct injection 2.4-liter 4-cylinder is rated at a potent 182 horsepower. And the optional V6 is also new, and it's a 3-liter unit with 254 horses. Now, we've mentioned that the Equinox is sold in several trim levels, and even the highest LTZ trim can be ordered with a 4-cylinder, offering buyers fuel efficiency and a luxurious interior. Now, both the 4-cylinder and V6 can be ordered in front wheel or optional all-wheel drive. Both come standard with traction control and StabiliTrak. This new Equinox really impressed me. I have to be honest that the interior is so much quieter. The brakes are very smooth, but what stood out the most for me is the fact that it feels so grounded and planted on the road, especially on the highway.
Now, I went to the launch of this vehicle this past summer. I had a chance to drive all different trim levels, including the 4-cylinder, the V6 all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, and I got to tell you, the 4-cylinder is the one to get. Lacey mentioned it already has more power than the old V6, and it's smooth, it's quiet, it has good passing power, it cruises on the highway very well. The only reason you would spend the extra money to get the V6 is if you require it for towing. Other than that, stick with the 4-cylinder. Another new feature is a 6-speed automatic transmission that helps keep the vehicle in the right revs to get the most out of the 4-cylinder, and at the same time providing fantastic fuel consumption. The Equinox boasts class-leading fuel consumption at only 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and only 6.1 on the highway. Check this out. That works out to 31 miles per gallon city and 46 miles per gallon on the highway. On the Chevy Equinox launch, I had Tim Herrick sitting in the back seat, the chief engineer on this new vehicle, and we had a long discussion. We talked about how the number one task was to make this class-leading in fuel economy. The second was to make it quiet and refined, and they use a bunch of new techniques to achieve that with this new Equinox. First, it's sealed to make it as airtight as possible to stop any wind noise from coming in. And they also use noise-canceling technology on the four-cylinder to get rid of any low-level noise vibration sounds when you're driving. And they've done an excellent job. What I like about this vehicle, you sit back and you cruise and you look out at the dash. It's very nicely finished. It's smooth and it's quiet. This Equinox is now in the running.
Well, Zach, the Equinox starts at just under $26,000 and it can go as high as $35,000. But I've got a feeling that most buyers are probably going to land somewhere around the $30,000 mark and get the higher level LT version. But Zach, the big question is, do you think that this Equinox is going to be a contender for the compact SUVs that are already established?
I think it will, and the number one reason why is because now it's available the four-cylinder engine. You have to know that the majority of the compact SUVs, if a V6 option is available, they don't sell many of those. People go for the four-cylinder. Inexpensive to buy, inexpensive to operate. Now this Equinox is right in the thick of it, and it's very competitively priced. The other advantage with the four-cylinder is it's got lots of power. I've driven the V6 and the four-cylinder. Go with the four-cylinder. Cheaper to buy, cheaper to run, and it's so smooth and quiet. This vehicle has been engineered to be quiet, and it really pays dividends, especially if you're cruising on the highway. The biggest knock with the old Equinox was the cheapy plastic fantastic interior. It's so much better looking. The interface with the driver is so clean and simple. It looks very good. They've done a good job. They've also focused on the old hard seats. Those are very comfortable, especially for the driver. I could sit behind the wheel for hours. Now the downside, the only knock against this vehicle, Lacey, in my opinion, is the fact that heated seats are only available on higher trim levels. I'd like to see that offered as an option, at least, on lower trim levels. What do you think?
You know, Zach, I agree with you. I think one of the greatest things about this new Equinox is the fact that there is a four-cylinder option available, and it's available on all trim levels, including the highest one, so you don't have to compromise between luxury and fuel economy. The seats are incredibly comfortable, both for the passengers and the driver. There's tons of space in the back seat, and there's lots of room for cargo. There's also a long list of standard safety features. Now, on the downside, I agree with you. I really would have liked to have seen heated seats available on some of the lower trim levels. And I don't like the look or feel of the steering wheel. It's kind of plasticky, and it doesn't really go with the updated interior.
Now, you get higher trim levels, you get a leather-wrapped one, and you can't get that as an option. Now, here's the thing about the Equinox. It's the biggest of the compact SUVs and borders on being a mid-size SUV. So you get a near mid-size SUV.
But you get it for a compact SUV price.
Want more? View our online-only story about the engineering behind the Equinox and its new sound-canceling technology on drivingtelevision.com.